What's up, guys? Today we have a very important topic that I need to discuss because with the success of so many Zatos recently, mainly at Evo, I've been seeing a lot of discourse floating around, a lot of tier lists, a lot of Twitter posts, and it's mainly surrounding Zato being top five. And I love to talk about this game. I love this game. It's very important to me. So when I try to talk about this game, talk about my opinion, why I disagree with that, I'm met with a lot of backlash, right? Oh, Zato players are all down players. Oh, like 9 matchups. Ha ha ha. Anyways, I made this video so I can just put all my thoughts out there, try to have a genuine discussion about the state of this game while like actually furthering it without just crying and like, saying that, oh, nope, he wins Evo, he wins everything. He's top five. So I'm gonna try to actually explain my decision making. I'll show you a tier list I have of this current game, and I'll show you a matchup spread that I have for Zato. Try to explain why I think the way I think, and maybe we can have a genuine understanding, or actually have like meaningful discourse about this character instead of just the way it is right now. So this first image we have on hand is this tier list that I've created. This is how I think the game is broken down. We have our undeniable top two. I don't think this is really worth even spending time on. Like, these are the top two characters in the game right now, no question. And below them we have Leo and Nago, right? Really strong characters, would be top tier in any other sense. It's just that we have these egregious characters above them, and then it gets a little funky after that. So a lot of people have had Zato top five in that same tier with Leo and Nago, but to me, tiers mean something, right? It's not just ordering. Otherwise, it would be all in one horizontal like tier. The tiers mean something. Like, the tiers are groupings to me, and I just cannot group. I cannot, in good heart, group Zato with Leo and Nago because he cannot beat the top two. He can't. Nago, you know, it was pretty unplayable last patch. I won't lie, but this patch, I think his matchup with Happy Chaos is a lot better. It's a lot more playable. Like, if you're the better player, you can win, and he deals with Ram well too. Obviously, that's kind of always been the case. He's always had a pretty solid matchup with Ram. Leo as well. Actually, like, Tiger Pop released a matchup spread for Happy Chaos recently. He's one of the best. Happy Chaos is the world period best one in Europe, or EMEA rather. But he put Leo as even, I believe. Some might say Leo could beat Happy Chaos. He's done it plenty of times. We've seen Tempest and Razo go back and forth with Umi Show. And then, of course, Leo has a pretty good matchup with Ram, too. So those characters, they're top tier. They're not quite egregious, and they can beat the characters above them in a tournament. It's a gappable matchup, you might say. Like, right, if you're a better player, you could skill gap the Happy Chaos player if you're Leo or Naga. And then we have Baiken. I'm not going to put her in that group because she's not. She's not on the level of Leo and Nago, but she can be top two. And this is the thing. I would put her, maybe consider. In fact, I think actually, no, I didn't do that before, but I would consider putting her in the group with Zato. It's just that she can beat the top two. That's what separates her. And as well as, like, head to head, she beats Zato too. But same tier list Tiger Pop put out. I'm not like trying to outsource to a top player authority. I'm just using some evidence here that he says Viking goes even with Happy Chaos, and that ability is kind of a scarcity in this meta, a very valuable thing to have, going even with Happy Chaos. And I'm not sure of her matchup with Ram, but in like theory, in my head, it seems like wouldn't be horrible at the very least, right? Like, having the parry has got to help versus Ram pressure, right? She can kind of clap back with big buns of her own, so it seems like uh, a Happy Chaos for sure. She can deal with him well. So that ability to like shut down the most egregious character in the meta right now is really strong. It puts her a step above Zato, in my opinion, who just cannot do that. And that's really it. He's a strong character. We know this. We've seen Latif and Leffen and 10A and Pep. We've seen what Zato can do. He has the ability to kind of just take over the round with one back throw, and that makes him particularly strong in a way where like any match can become his, but he just can't beat Ram and Chaos. He can't. If you're the better player in the matchup, you just don't always win. They're very RPS-y, and it's RPS that's not favored most times. It's really bad matchups, and I think we all know that. That's not something we have to discuss, but that fact separates him from Blanket, in my opinion, and places him outside of top five. So next we have my matchup spread. This is a little different than the one I tweeted a little while ago, which I know you all know because you follow me, of course. But this is different because I edited it just to compromise with other Zato players I've seen. Like, certain opinions of mine that literally no one else shared. I was like, all right, you know what? Maybe this is just me, skill issue. I'm willing to compromise. So as we know, Ram and Chaos, a step above, horrible. We hate them. And then we have losing matchups here. These are matchups that's like, yeah, these are losing, no doubt. They're not egregious. They're not like close to even either. Like they're pretty considerably losing. Obviously, we saw Slash display that matchup. We've seen it since the big dawn of time. Latif's always been preaching how carried May is, right? And then Baiken as well, right? Baiken will tell you this. She beats Zato. Those buttons are really hard for him to interact with, hard to anti-air, hard to stop kind of in any way. And she's really good at killing Eddie with her speed, her range, Tatami, right? And once he's in pressure, he can either get strung up for hours or explode with the risk. So I don't need to explain why each matchup is the way it is. I think these are things we can agree on so far. But these are the four matchups that are like they're losing. You can't argue they're close to even. Really, they're pretty considerably losing. And then this is the point here, right? Oh, the eight losing matchups, eight losing matchups. Well, here we have eight losing matchups, right? Four characters that I've put in a slight loss here. But here's the thing: on paper, yes, they're losing matchups, right? Maybe 4-5 to 5-5, or whatever, however you want to call it. But they're close enough to even where they're like very winnable and gappable, right? If you're the better player, you can win. It's not out of question. Whereas versus Happy Chaos and Ram, that's not always the case. But we have Leo, Jacko, Testament, Axel matchups that Zato in theory loses, but in reality, like if you're the better player and certain things go your way, those are very winnable matchups, which is why it may not seem like they're all losing when you see it displayed in front of you, right? Like Latif 3-0'd Remy Celeste, one of the best Axel players, and he made it look like a really good matchup for Zato because he got in versus the zoning. He like IB'd the slashes and then he just went to town on offense. And that ability to kind of like take over on offense, what you get in, makes Zato really strong. But nonetheless, like the tools Axel have definitely just makes him beat Zato, but it just doesn't always go that way necessarily because it's close enough to even where Latif can carry that out in the end and get the win. Same with kind of Testament and Jacko, right? I mean, you can ask these Zato players. I've heard Tenne talk about this on stream before like Jacko and Testament, kind of annoying matchups, a little annoying, but in reality, it's not too much of a loss to be that much of a problem, right? Not super common characters. You kind of only have one or two reps of those characters who are really putting in work. So aside from that, you're not really going to see this matchup beating Zato often, right? If it's not like Nitro, Adventure, or Dev, like you're not going to see a Testament beat a pro Zato player. And Leo, of course. I actually personally, in my own matchup chart, I put Leo as even because I really thought it was like after the buffs Zato got and the nerfs Leo got, I thought that pretty helped, kind of directly helped towards this matchup. But I haven't really seen anyone else agree with that, and I can defer to that opinion. I'm willing to compromise on that one at least. Maybe he has only 7 losing matchups, depending on who you ask. But this is kind of this is why people might say, "Oh, 8 losing matchups," and then that sounds ridiculous because Sato is the only character to be twice in the Evo top 8, I believe. So how could he have 8 losing matchups, right? But it's really only the 2 that are horrible, 2 more that are hard but winnable. I don't believe any Zato beat a good May though, for the record. And then you have these 4, which are losing, but enough that you could win anyway if you're the better player, which Latif and Leffen, Pep, Tene, some world class players, best in the region. Uh, they're gonna beat your random Leo and pools or whatever. So yeah, I hope that discussion was worth your time. That we can have some meaningful discourse about this and actually like further our understandings of the game and our concept of meta instead of just crying. So thanks.